Alright, folks, and welcome to Downstage Gaming. I'm your host, Josh, and this is part 14 of our Let's Play of The Letter. Now, when we last left off, we had finished things off with Hannah, and if I could, I'd like to just take a moment to sort of reflect on Hannah. I did appreciate that, I liked the chapter overall, and I appreciated that I definitely got to like Hannah a lot more, even as I got to hate Luke even more. But I enjoyed the relationship stuff. I enjoyed seeing that. It was a little odd to me that, like, as compared to Isabella, I mean, obviously it's the first chapter, you're being introduced to a lot of stuff. I really feel like we didn't get anything, at least in the path that we took, in terms of, like, the larger mystery. Like, obviously she had a lot of scares going on with the ring girl, but, like, we didn't seemingly learn much. Like, we were introduced to some new characters, a couple of new characters, and we obviously got a little bit more depth on a couple of others, but I don't know, I was surprised that we didn't really learn much more, so, but who knows, maybe a little change here with our boy Zach, who we'll be starting off with right now. Here we go. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Faint, but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Pa's stern but commanding gaze, Ma's tender smiles, the sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning. The distinct smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room. Our room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I too, eventually. But we ain't allowed there. Not yet. Not until we're taller or older. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves, not burn our hands or reach the cupboards without having to be lifted.
But a little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
The floorboards are cold under my feet, more than it usually is. The wall's more forbidding than what I'm used to. So I'm guessing this is like flashback or maybe dream? Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases, and Pa...
No, please wait. I'll be good. I'll sleep on time. Don't go.
I can't hear Pa. Oh, Jesus. Not above the raucous clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There is only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, the red sea that catches me is bitter and frigid, but the blood that drips in my hand is warm, warm, warm. It ain't my blood. The walls tumble and everything goes quiet. Well, that's a heck of a way to start things off here. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. I like this place. Very small, but this is nice. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me. A blanket is tangled, and my blanket a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived, and yet...
Way too early for this thing, man.
And too long. Too long since the last I've woken up drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, only imprints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day, or until my mind forgets about it. So I think we may be, re-experiencing the hate crime that was mentioned in the bio that we read at the end of last episode. Eh, God, whichever comes first. Yet, vivid or not, what little I can remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, clawing up, pushing, urging me to relive every moment, every sensation, and... There's a twinkle in Ma's eye when she looks up from her work, flour dusting her nose and cheeks. The scent of freshly baked bread wafts from the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills the room. He reaches up to wipe the small beads of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer, the moment he spots me in my little hiding place behind the door. I expected him to be angry, but his pat on my back when I come, with his arm's reach, is encouraging enough. We'll have to taste these first before we put it for sale tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distantly familiar. Ma ushers me out of the kitchen when Pa moves to answer it. But I know. I know what waits outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my tight grip. Something snaps back into place. My bed remains in an utter disarray, the walls still need a new paint job, and the wall clock ticking opposite my bed is as unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had the chance.
You're no longer there, Zachary. Here and there, are miles apart. Calm down. Breathe.
This is quite a way to start things off, Zach. I'm so sorry. The pressure of my own fingers against my temple is a welcome sensation over the anxiety gripping me. It never really did anything to stave off the headache sure to follow after this before, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I'm safe, away from the place I once called home, from Ma and Pa's. The urgency with each rap that follows finally chases away the ghost threatening to hang around. Why anyone thinks it's a good idea to knock at someone else's door this late confuses me. I mean, at a certain hour, like at a certain point at night, if somebody knocked at my door, I just wouldn't answer it. Like, I'm not exactly sure what time that is. I mean, obviously, unless I was expecting someone, but like, if I was not expecting anyone and there's a knock at my door past, like, I don't know, even like 9, if I'm not expecting it, it's like, I'm not answering that. Nana would chase them all away with a broom if she was here. But no matter, it's a welcome break from the thoughts about to take a morbid turn if left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to crash. Looking for a place to crash. Yeah, this does not look like great. I mean, like, it's nice, but 2 people living here would seem a bit much. Wonder of wonders why he's bothering with the courtesy when he never did so before, meaning it's not him. Even with that hunch, though, habit compels me to check who it is first through the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say. Except the person that greets me on the other side ain't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight and he started wearing a ponytail, of course, which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon, no matter how funny that looks to my head. Is this Isabella? Is this her? I waste no time opening the latches.
Isabella?
Yes!
It's late.
Yes! Well, I don't know what day this is. I don't know if this is after, but given the fact that she looks pretty freaked out, there's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face is a pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy, and an uncontrollable shaking in her hands she's trying to hold back. Hide if I didn't know any better.
Hey, Zach. Sorry, I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you are the closest to my office, and...
Yeah, I think this might be...
No, it's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
Is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought... I'm sorry, I just thought... I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and...
Zach's your friend. I don't really feel this is that weird.
Sorry.
She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead her only response is a downward shift to her gaze, back to her still trembling hands as if the motion alone is enough of an explanation. A minuscule gesture. Easy to miss if one's not paying attention. But for someone who has seen the same expression in the mirror, done the same thing too many times when night terrors are inevitable, it is not.
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you knocked. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it. I swear that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
But have you heard his ringtone, Zach? Without waiting for her answer, I step away from the door and saunter over the kitchenette. For a few good seconds, only the clicking of plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, the familiar motion keeps me occupied, steering my mind away from dangerous thoughts. Isabella's company is not unwelcome either. Whatever her reasons for showing up here at such an hour doesn't matter. I'll be damned if I just turn her away, frazzled as she is. The door clicks shut behind her when she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tiled floor. In all the years I've known her, she has never once lost her ever upbeat spirit. Yet at this particular moment, as she stands in my doorway, holding her arms close to herself, it's as if I'm looking at someone completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
Do you want to drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
I would love to see some of this famous Zachary cooking I've heard so much about.
Just water will do, please. Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway. And feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable right now. Sorry. New freelance gigs and such. Didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually she'd have something more to say about that. A quip, a witty remark to provoke a laughter or two. Nothing from her this time. Only a weak smile before she takes a seat on the couch, and a silence that stretches out until what we left hanging feels disconcerting. Isabella, just tell him what happened. Come on. Before everything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. How's one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Anyway, gigs.
I'm all about them. Gigabytes?
Can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my scheduled shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property. Man, Must be nice to have all the money in the world.
Yeah, you're gonna really get to know them well,
The
Zach.
world itself moves for you, huh?
She's curled up on one side of the couch and hugging her knees close when I bring the tray carrying the sandwiches and the water she requested. She starts to straighten up as I'm unveiling the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold up my hand in a halting
You're a
gesture.
guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
Don't drop it. The tremor in her hands, though, lighter now, still hasn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. I give her a questioning look, but she is quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Maybe she just doesn't want me asking questions. Worrying. This sudden loss of words is about a quiet not normally present in our chats. Even the creaking of the old chair when I casually take the seat is a welcome break. Zach is a much better friend than I would be, apparently. Because I would, like... I mean, like, obviously I would let the friend in, but I'd be like, what's going on? You know, what's up? What's the clear and present problem? Even though, you know, apparently she doesn't want to talk about it. Though the company's familiar, this has gone way past unnerving.
What happened? Overtime at work?
Okay. Now we're getting there. She doesn't answer immediately. Another gulp drains her glass of its remaining contents. One would think it would be enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it in her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah, boss handed me extra work today. After what happened to Rose.
Rose. Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
Yeah, she's
dead.
dead.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
Oh, this is
You've never
awkward.
met her. I think I did mention her once or twice.
She's basically my BFF.
Doesn't matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then. A little memory from the night before. The bright red light from the dark room, the strong odor of the stop bath, the television's barely audible murmur in the background, and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere, even in the morning that follows. I just didn't think its effects will strike someone this close to me.
Oh. Damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will.
I hope it will too,
Things
Bella.
might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished. And I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
Are you not going to talk about what happened to you?
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest. Even the most hardworking people I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
It's just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night.
Zach's such a good guy.
Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you...
No! Wait, please!
Oh no. The vehement tension in her voice makes me pause, and it is in this instant the mask she's been keeping up falls apart, if only for a short while. Right then and there, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare for the moment she arrived. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. It's disturbing to see such marring her usual upbeat countenance. With a sigh, I cross the small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch is telling enough.
Bella, this ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is it really about? I'm all ears.
The sound of glass shattering rents through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know anymore.
She claps her hands over her ears, pressing it tightly against the sides of her head. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
Hide, Isabella. Look at me, look at me.
My hands are firm on her shoulder when I pull her up to look at me. It takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close, too similar.
Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale, hold, exhale. Stay in the present.
It's interesting because, like, obviously this is a very fictional, problem, the ghoul. But the idea that, like, this conversation feels very real and very, like, oh, like, this person just experienced some, like, deep trauma in a way that's, like, this is intense.
I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. Do you want to talk about it?
The force with which she shakes her head is enough reason to drop the topic
No
altogether.
more. Please. No more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Okay, no more talking. I won't ask anymore.
Let's get out a game of sorry. You and me.
Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much.
How about 3 glasses of water?
We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
4 glasses? She nods lightly before retreating into herself again. No more words are exchanged after that. I take that as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before either one of us get hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is a pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. More so than her ragged draws of breath are my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two. But the latter does the trick. And soon enough, she has already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm, the strain on her shoulders gone. Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to the empty bed, and hugs herself tighter against the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact that she appears relaxed, the small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her anytime soon. But for her sake, I hope it won't stay long with her. There are still questions left to be answered. But the late hour, coupled with the sudden exhaustion, made my old couch a more comfortable bed than it typically is. Darkness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits my makeshift pillow. Take a look what we got. Okay. So, the thing that I'm curious about... Yeah, okay. Well, that's actually kind of interesting. I guess maybe if it's so late... Because, like, I'm thinking, like, okay, this happened Monday on the 24th. She arrives here on Tuesday, but maybe that's, like, midnight Tuesday? Okay. Because I can't imagine she's just been, like, wandering around for, like, a full day. I can only wish the dreams will keep a distance for now. For both of us. Alright. Tuesday it is. First few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it became one of those nights when sleep passes like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun is yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing everything in subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button, twice or thrice just to catch those precious few extra minutes of sleep. Relatable. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Oh, I like Sleepy Zach. Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of the bed. The ringing still hasn't stopped, even as I fish the phone out, and Ashton's name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Okay, alright, so Zach's rocking a nice, like, emerald green. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped a call yet.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6. 6 in the morning. Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet.
That's gonna be awkward when he finds out that Isabella's with us.
Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
You're one to talk. Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that.
No, it's still another, like, 5 or 6 days before then.
Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently.
What are you talking about? Like, you don't believe the ghoul stuff, so what are you referring to?
You've heard about the Cooper woman from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure of how to go about recounting last night. I mean, is she, like, just sleeping in the room? Like, what? If I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transferred her the night before. Sometime during her sleep, she pulls up a blanket over herself and tucks it into it comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes or how much her hands and lips trembled. Save for her firm grip on the edge of the cover, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Something, the worry, the concern, must have surfaced in my tone, because his own shifts then. Carefully, as if he's preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kind of knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that, with how things are when she arrived. I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. If Becca was a roommate, probably would have been nice to, at least send a courtesy text.
You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part. And I just didn't think, okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so...
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest.
She's just kind
I
of
couldn't get the story out of her.
completely freaked out.
Really? I thought you had learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face.
Like a wild animal.
I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this?
I'm also curious about
You weren't
that.
talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch, you weren't there. We were walking one second, and
Oh,
the next, she's
yeah.
crying out.
Yep,
I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
Believe it. That would freak me out too if a friend of mine did that. It bothered him, the way he falls silent after his telling. But whatever his opinion is, stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good with that, hiding what he thinks.
Did she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Yeah, that's probably a good call.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Look who's talking.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury.
I don't know, he's a detective, right? That seems like the most flexible...
I wonder if you think I'm
Hours
able
on
to tag
Earth.
along when you need me.
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up.
Yeah,
you know?
but he's in love, Zachary.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine.
Bye. He drops the call before I can even get a word in, and for several minutes after, I find myself simply listening as the rest of Luxborn rouses. Okay. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of the nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting, what's safe, what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts, but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like this, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair to say such in light of last night. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. A small yawn escapes me when I rise to the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through, despite the proverbial ghosts hanging around. Poor choice of words, Zachary. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table was reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up. The sterile odor of the capsule is equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I'd spend minutes, heck even hours, staring at a single pill prior to taking one in. Now it's just routine, a way to stave off the unwanted nightly visits. Although I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he ever finds out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for weeks. Yeah, you don't want to do that to your doctor, Zach. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary. I pop a tablet in my mouth.
Zach?
Poor Zach.
What time is it?
Bottle in my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are some things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
She answers the question with a long, drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. Chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities. Rude. Inexperienced and immature even. Very rude. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of an adult earlier than her own dreams can afford. To overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Alright. Make it up for it. Maybe not in the same level Ash exercises for his investigations, or Rebecca needs for her own work. But it's certainly enough to deftly put what she sees around her on canvas. And if the way her eyes flickers to the table in my hand says something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
Ma doing? You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions?
Zachary's such a great
Not
guy.
in this house. My nana will give me a tough scolding if I ever did that.
I
I'm
love this
telling
dude.
you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot. I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place.
That's what I'm surprised you
As
got
long as
two.
no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
That's a great general rule to have, Zach.
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble. Especially since you don't seem to be...
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over the table, back to the bottle, holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. The blood blooming over Pa's heart, the horrified look on Ma's face as she watches him fall lifeless to the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. It never stops, doesn't it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well.
Yeah, no, things are not going well for Zach.
Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
Aww. She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtlety has never been one of her greatest assets, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not at loss for words at that. She has left it up to me whether I'll ever give her the response she wants to hear or not. A little clever coming from her, if anyone would ask me. I mean, come on, we're gonna tell the truth. This relationship is already so sweet. We're not playing games here. It's never easy, ain't it? Yeah, figured Isabel would like that. Talking about my own problems, that is. It will never be. Not by a long shot. Not when I've let it stay this way for so long. I realized that long ago, when the wounds are still fresh and the dreams are a nightly occurrence, can't force yourself to get better or move on to better things. It is what's normal now, and I can only cope. Question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity, sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But of all the people I keep close in my life, she's probably one of the very few who perhaps I can trust with this. Maybe she won't understand entirely. I can never hope she will. No, never to the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her and giving too much of what I can. However, for all her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. That's all I can ask of her.
Not bad. I was kind of hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
Pills rattle lightly against the container when I gently set it back to its usual place. Always the small area closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's.
No, you weren't.
Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right?
I could really go for like 5 glasses of water.
I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. But Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
Well, with him being the ace detective and all.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open, and her smile honest. As if this is just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It is far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of unease that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
And she does. True to her word, she listens while the story spills out of my mouth of my ma and pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what has left me in that day. I can't recall most of it now, my own account jacket with a few missing details here and there. The passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident. All except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ringing of gunshots are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hits the floor motionless, his lifeblood flowing out from under him. And the gunman. He was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet to Pa's chest and Ma's head. I've heard stories of how the world could be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed until that moment.
Nan and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. And we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment will be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity, and maybe some that are a little too hard to answer. But to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears, and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easier to see the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me, a bit awkward considering the gap in our heights, but it gets her sentiment across. But it's difficult to answer this in a kind, if I'm even supposed to reciprocate the gesture given my early apprehension. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for, but it's obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Oh, okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry, I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah? Whew. Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than
Why
today.
would someone be angry about that,
I'm
Zach?
not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons?
I suppose that's true,
But
Bella.
this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief, fleeting, and disappears right before I can recognize what it is.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine. Look, about last night, never mind. This isn't a good time, but don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out. And if you need me, I'll be here.
God. Let us all wish that we could have a friendship as sweet and good as this one. I should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone and knowing I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow, I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that will result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. And at that point, the game's over, because it only goes to, like, November 1st or something. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe, and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What did they say again about happiest people when angered? Besides, it'd be unfair to her after our little chat.
So, food then?
Yeah! Food time! She seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as if it has been simply waiting for its cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now.
Yeah.
Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry. Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
Pretty rare to hear somebody else's stomach growl like that.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also,
Because
didn't
we're
I
going
say
for
you were a
4
guest?
stars.
Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
Soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about?
I mean, have you seen your room?
I'll have you know, I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Alright, and we are going to leave things off there on our start with Zach here. That was, there was some heavy stuff in there. I'm sorry that there wasn't a lot of, you know, fun times and goose here, but that was some heavy stuff. Yeah, so we'll continue things here with Zach and see where this goes and hopefully get a little bit more out of Isabella later. But until then, this has been Downstage Gaming. I've been your host, Josh, and I will see you next time.